The Cubs need power. Could Pete Alonso be a fit? Let's talk about it right now.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. Please support the show by following on your preferred audio platform, and you can watch, subscribe, and leave a comment.
I need the song inside of me.
Thanks so much for making us your first listen. Sam and I are lifelong fans.
Gotta find you.
I don't recognize the song. Taking our passion into discussion with you on all things Cubs. Today's Thursday episode is presented by Sleeper. Swing for the fences on Sleeper Picks, and you could win up to 100 times your money. Download the Sleeper app and use promo code LOCKEDON, and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Check out Sleeper today. On Monday night, 6:70 the Score's Bruce Levine reported the Cubs are going to do everything they can to trade for Pete Alonso. On Tuesday morning, ESPN 1000's Jesse Rogers reported Alonso is not only on the Cubs' radar, but that he may want to be on the Cubs. So, as the Cubs enter the offseason and have a clear need for more power on their team, perhaps the Mets' first baseman could be en route to the north side. Sam, this is a good sign of the Cubs' possible activity over these next few months.
I can't believe, excuse me, I can't believe we're only a few days into the offseason and we're already talking potential trades.
Thank goodness we are.
Look, I know this will disappoint a lot of people, but I have a couple of takes on this. I see both sides of it, so I'm going to break it down for you in 3, 2. Here's what it is. Yes, we'll talk about the power need later in the show. And somebody like Pete Alonso, what he's going to do for you is, if he's healthy, and knock on wood, that has been something that he has been able to do for most of his career, is play in games and be available. He is a guaranteed 40 home run guy, probably at this ballpark close to 50. If you don't think that makes your team better, then you're completely wrong, right? I mean, it's obvious. You put him in the middle of the lineup, and the entire lineup looks the same. You keep him at first, you keep Bellinger, and you have some real star power and real production. There's no doubt about that, and I'll elaborate on that a little bit later. My concern, Matthew, is that I talked about it on my solo show last week, that I think the biggest thing the Cubs need to do this offseason is get better on the margins. And I don't think Pete Alonso is that type of player. Let me read you some statistics from the Polar Bear.
Okay.
2 outs with don't make me laugh. I don't feel well. 2 outs, runners in scoring position this season, 222 average. Late and close, 192 average. Tie game late, 171 average. He's not one of those guys. He is an all-or-nothing hitter. Now, again, you put him at first base, you solve that problem. I'm not saying you don't get better, but I guess what I would say is the Cubs still need to solve that problem of the margins. Now, the counterpoint is, I don't really think you solve the margin problem with one player. I think it's more of an organizational thing. It's a manager thing. It's a decision-making thing. So I'm never going to say no to Pete, but of course, it all depends on the deal, which we'll talk about later as well. I mean, the Jeimer Candelario deal, he turned out, with all due respect, to not help this team at all. And I'm not mad.
Aside from the first week or two.
Right. Great. We didn't make the playoffs and he didn't perform, okay? Can we stop sugarcoating everything?
Right. I don't have to put that caveat in.
No, there's no caveat.
I just wanted to hear my own voice.
Is Candelario at your place?
The Candyman.
But I'm not mad about the trade, because we didn't really give up that much. So it was the juice was worth the squeeze. Somebody forgot to squeeze it. The juice was worth the squeeze. Somebody forgot to squeeze it. So, it all depends on it all depends. I got
only 5 minutes in.
I need a lozenge.
Yeah, you're having some throat issues.
Yeah, I need a lozenge.
I think it's lozenge.
Lozenge. I said it wrong.
Yeah, so
it's late.
I get that Pete Alonso had a lower average, lower OBP. His walk rate was still okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, he gets a lot of barrels, which is important in this sport. Something that a lot of Cubs didn't do in 2023. And, I think for the Cubs, this makes so much sense given the power production.
Bet at 217.
And a clear need at first base, regardless of whether or not Bellinger returns. And Bruce Levine did add that the Cubs would like to pair Alonso with Bellinger. But they really need two bats of that ilk. So if Bellinger doesn't re-sign, then the Cubs need to be really active anyways, in addition to Alonso or someone else. Here are his home run totals in his first 4 full years in the majors, including this one.
53.
Yep. 37, 40, and 46.
You skipped the COVID year. What do you have?
Right. I'm not counting that. It's not a full year.
Yeah, but what do you have? About 13 and 57 games?
I think he had 16.
Yeah.
He's the only player in baseball since 2019 to have 3 40-plus homer years, and he has hit the most home runs of anyone since 2019.
Which is him coming into the league.
Right. It's surprising that he's been around only that short a time.
Yeah, he's 28.
Entering the final year of his deal. No indications that he and the Mets are close to an extension in Queens, which makes him a prime candidate for the Cubs or somebody else.
And what makes him attractive for the Cubs is that he's dealt with a big market before. And I know a lot of people roll their eyes at that. That's a real thing. There are certain players that could succeed when nobody cares. And then there's certain players that could succeed in the biggest markets in, New York, Chicago, LA. So I think that's attractive. Look, I would love to have him in the lineup. I think his ability to just to have a guy like that, if you have Bellinger and Alonso 3-4 or other way around, and then you surround them, and you'll get to that with the rest of the guys, it does make everybody else better. And I think the goal right now for next year is to build a roster. And, and I mean this, I don't mean this with a lot of respect, to build a roster that the manager can't screw up. And in order to do that, you might need a P. You might need to resign a Bellinger. You might need a Yamamoto. You might need a lot. You might have to spend a lot of money because the guy making the calls. So.
Well, and I don't want the Cubs to use 127 lineups.
Oh,
I'd rather them not.
Is that how many they ended up using?
Yes,
127.
There's 162 games.
Oh, I'm so tired, man.
Isn't that crazy?
It's just fatigue. And, can I say one thing off topic?
Yeah.
Like, the Tampa Bay Rays won 99 games this year. They scored 1 run in 2 games and are out of it. These 3-game series are so random. And it's just you really, if you're good, you better be good enough where you don't have to play one of these 3-game series, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think that's a great observation so far. As looks like all 4 series are en route to sweeps.
And Corbin Burns has pitched his last game as a Brewer.
Wow, well, where's he going? The Mets?
I don't know, but they don't really like each other after that whole arbitration mishap. Remember that?
I remember. And speaking of that, Pete Alonso said Sunday he was upset that Buck Showalter was being released.
Well, maybe we could bring Buck with us.
So that's what makes the Jesse Rogers report interesting. Does Alonso actually want to be a Chicago Cub? And that adds another layer on this.
And what do you think an Alonso extension looks like? I mean, that's fascinating. I'm not giving him like 200 M.
No. I think definitely like 5 or 6 years, but
for like 150?
150s, right?
Yeah, one of those.
Right. And remember, the Cubs have not given a 200M contract before. Will this be the offseason they do?
Well, that might have to change if they want to keep Cody Bellinger.
Right, which is we got plenty of time to talk about.
No, but we'll talk a lot of it.
As the team in the Bronx might just outbid everybody, maybe like 220 or something.
What
like that.
shirt are you wearing?
This is a Dan Levitard show.
Oh.
Back when I was a big fan.
Got it.
So, and coming up next, we're going to go over projected lineup with Alonso.
I'm wearing an Augustana shirt. That's where Anthony's alma mater is.
Oh, very nice. Yes, Anthony, your lifelong friend.
Yeah.
And,
kind of. I haven't spoken to him in years, but yeah.
Okay. And, we're going to get to that lineup. Today's episode is brought to you by Sleeper. Can you still hear and see me?
Yeah, I can, dude.
Okay, I went off on my own screen for a minute.
Oh, you look great.
That was scary. You can still play fantasy with Sleeper's daily fantasy picks. Sleeper is offering up to 100 times payout for up to 8-pick contests. Choose as many as 8 players this postseason that you like and pick more or less on your favorite baseball stats: homers, hits, strikeouts, steals, and more. Use promo code Locked On. You'll get it to 100 times match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Check out Sleeper today. The regular season is over, but you can catch the entire postseason on SiriusXM. On the SXM app, you can listen to the radio call of your choosing from any of the playoff teams, or keep up with all the postseason discussion you can ever want with MLB Network Radio on Channel 89. Who can change the score quickly? This is something that Jed Hoyer talked about earlier this week in his end-of-season presser. Cubs really only have a couple guys that can do so. And if you add Alonso, if you retain Bellinger, we'll see what the other combos and options are as we head towards March 28th, 2024. That's going to be in Arlington, Texas. Cubs Rangers might have to go down for that.
Could be the defending world champs.
Yeah. Wow. That's incredible to think about. And Alonso would change the score, Sam, pretty quick. You know, you're talking about homers
homers.
Totals.
We get it. Homers. He's going to hit homer.
That start with the number 4. The Cubs haven't had that since Sosa.
Really?
Well, I didn't look into that, but
didn't Derek Lee do it?
I think so. I'm not really. I didn't fact check.
No, it's all right. It's only our jobs. I'll get that.
Well, I don't do this full time. So.
I got it. I'm pretty sure Derek Lee did that. Yeah, Derek Lee hit 46 in 05.
Okay.
Man, what a year. 50 doubles, 46 homers, 335 average, dude. He had a 1.08 OPS, and he finished third in the MVP voting. I'm calling somebody out.
Call Bud Selig.
Oh, Albert Pujols won it that year.
Yeah, he was a feared hitter.
He could hit.
Man, was that the D. Lee season where he was hitting like 389 in July?
Yes.
That was fun. I believe he was on the SI cover, or ESPN the Mag cover.
And then I don't think they've had a 40 guy since, right? Brian hit 39 in 16. What
about Schwarber?
I don't think he ever got to 40, but that's what fact checking's for, and I'll do that next.
So here's the lineup with Peter Alonso. It's going to be Happ in left, Horner at second.
38 for Schwarber.
Bellinger at first, Alonso the DH in this combo. Suzuki in right. Candelario re-signed on a 1-year deal until Matt Shaw is ready. Swanson at short, Gomes catching, and PCA in center.
No, so great lineup. Wait, can you come on, flash that back up. Pete Alonso will not be DHing here. Okay, he's coming here to play first base. A guy like that doesn't DH. Pete Crow-Armstrong in center, maybe so. Then maybe Bellinger moves to a corner spot and one of Happ or Suzuki DHs. I don't know. I'm not sure PCA is going to start the year with the big club. That would be my big take there. So then Bellinger would move to center. And no, Jeimer Candelario will not be back with the Cubs next year. I've seen enough.
Really?
Yes, you can mark that down right now.
Well, who's going to play third? Madrigal?
They might do like a Madrigal.
He did a nice job.
No, it might be a Madrigal Mastro platoon, and then maybe Morel DHs. I'm not wasting any capital on that guy. He didn't hit.
And I think Morel might be dealt for pitching.
Yeah, Morel could get traded as well. I also I I think I like that lineup though. I like the course of it. I mean,
I was debating Bellinger and center.
I like how far down you had Swanson.
7th.
Yeah, no, hit him 9.
Okay, come on.
No, he couldn't hit. So
down the stretch certainly.
Yeah, well, that kind of matters.
I know. All right, I'm just gonna stop doing those caveats. So.
I'd like Stroman not to be on the club.
Wow, you're really strong publicly about that.
No, I am. And if he's watching this and wants to come on the show and talk about it, he can at any time.
He is an open invite.
An open invite. Well, every player does, but
we might have a Cubs player on, right? Maybe as soon as next week.
Not might. It absolutely. We should be having a Cubs player on next week.
Okay,
it should be set up. Nothing's firmed up yet, but we have been texting.
Okay.
No, look, I'd love for Stroman to prove me wrong and win the Cy Young next year. I just didn't enjoy this season. I just think $20+ million for somebody like that's a lot of capital.
Right.
I've used that word too many times. There's no need to use it twice. Once was fine.
And this middle of the order is just it gets thicker.
Get Candelario out of it.
It's thicker, so I'll have to make some edits to this.
No, I'd go Hap, Horner, Belly, Pete, Seiya.
Okay, so we have the same top 5
and that's all that matters, really. And then you figure out the rest. Probably
6.
Yeah, good. Swanson, Morel, Madrigal, something like that. Let me tell you this. Hap, Horner, Bellinger, Alonso, Suzuki, Swanson. Those are 6 very good ball players.
Yeah, they are.
In their own way. I mean, Hap, I'm kind of fatigued by, but he's still a good player.
He is. He'd be great in the leadoff spot.
Like that, those 6 guys, you could win with those 6 guys. But again, you're seeing how random it is. I mean, look at the Brewers. I mean, the Brewers. Is that game final, by the way? I just don't want to.
I don't think so.
I don't want to write them off before.
Well, and we're going to talk about other possibilities too. Listen, we were the first on Juan Soto back in July. We'll talk about him again.
And the Brewers are 2 outs away from being eliminated, and they were as hot as anybody in baseball coming into this thing. It's a crapshoot. Winning a World Series is a crapshoot, and that's why I think Jed's bigger plan is to just be good every year and let the chips fall where they may.
Which I respect, don't you?
I respect a lot of things about this organization.
Yeah.
I just don't. Sometimes I don't say it enough.
Well, and maybe I'll start reminding you of that.
Yeah, Le Batard.
All right, so coming up next, we're going to
1 out away for the Brewers.
I'm certainly not going to do any projected trades. I've learned my lesson on that. But we could go over some possibilities that people have floated out, including the host from our own network. Stay tuned.
Sure.
Okay, Cubs fans, you may have heard us talk about the free new app just for sports fans called Bunches. Now Bunches is back. Bunches is a new social network built for sports fans. No politics, no doom and gloom, just sports. They've recently released a new scoreboard feature that lets you check live scores in the app and chat about live games as they happen. Go there now. Connect with other baseball fans, chat about your favorite team, and keep up with the latest news. Download the Bunches app today, and when you do, our friends at Bunches have featured the Locked On MLB Bunch in the Discover tab. You can also click the link in the description of this episode. Try Bunches today. Some trade proposals going around for Pete Alonso as both of those local reports made national headlines this week, including one from our own Locked On Mets host Ryan Finkelstein, who proposed a Cade Horton and Matt Mervis package for Alonso. And we're going to play a 75-second clip of that right here.
The one pitching prospect that I would open the door to trading Pete Alonso for is Cade Horton. So he is the number 2 overall prospect in the Cubs system. And if a Cubs fan is tuning in to watch this episode or listen to this episode, they are immediately saying we're not doing that. And that's why I don't think that this is a viable situation. But again, you got to give to get. And if you're the Mets, that's what you're asking for. Now, if you're not aware of who Cade Horton is, and I wasn't until, an hour ago, he played quarterback at Oklahoma. He pitched as well in his final season, had Tommy John actually at the beginning of his college career, but actually legitimately was a 2-sport star at Oklahoma. Gets drafted by the Cubs 7th overall because he has that much arm talent. Made his professional debut this year, went from low A to double A, Overall, made 21 starts, pitched to a 3.26 ERA, had 117 strikeouts and 88 in the third innings pitched. You look at what he did and you put him in a similar ballpark to a Blade Tidwell, and he might be better than Blade Tidwell. He just turned 22 years old in August. So he could be the best pitching prospect in the Mets system if you were to make that type of a trade.
Well, Cade Horton isn't going anywhere. The Cubs really value their players right now, and I think you got to realize that actually a package for Alonso likely may not even need to include a prospect of that high a level. I don't think it's going to take a Lindor Betts type deal, Sam. I don't think it's going to go as low as a Teoscar Hernandez from Blue Jays to the Mariners last winter, which I saw floated today. But I think it'll be somewhere in the middle of those two. But the possibility of Horton is laughable.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is from our perspective, but like I don't think anything that he said was really egregious because that's what the Mets are going to ask for. They're going to ask for Horton or PCA. My guess would be they probably want PCA back. Jed's going to say, hey, I mean, these negotiations, with all due respect to us, we have no idea how it goes. But the Mets are going to ask for PCA or Horton in the deal. Jed's going to say, we're not going to give that to you because we don't know if we can re-sign him. So he's not worth that. And then the Mets GM, you got to remember, it might be David Stearns at that time. Or president, or is it Josh Stearns? I forget his name.
No,
Whatever.
David Stearns. Yeah, he got introduced on Monday.
Yeah, so he's going to be very, very shrewd in what he does. So he'll ask for the moon. Jed will say, I'm not going to give it to you. Jed will say, we can't re-sign him. And then Stearns will say, you can. And it'll be an ongoing thing. And most of the time, that's why these things don't happen. You know, my type of guess would be like a Canario plus another type of guy, maybe like a Canario Casey or a Canario, middle, maybe like a pitcher type of thing, which Cub fans would probably think is a lot because you're going to have to give him 100 million plus. But like, what the Mets want to win baseball games next year. So if the Mets don't absolutely love the deal, they'll just hold on to him till the deadline and then trade him. So it's not as clear cut as you think. You never know how these deals go, and trying to project and guess
Right. I mean, shout out to Ryan. I respect what he's saying.
Yeah.
What was really laughable ultimately was a proposal with Justin Steele in it. I don't even know where it was from.
No,
that is
laughable.
I'm not going to acknowledge that.
Well,
I was thinking of Morel and Wisniewski combo.
No, you're living in fantasy land.
Okay.
Morel and Wisniewski maybe get you like a Diet Mountain Dew. No, it would have to be Morel, Wisniewski, and then like a big prospect, like a Casey
with a prospect or two.
Oh, okay, yeah. Morel, Wisniewski, and Alcantara. Is that too much?
Not for me.
Morel, Casey. I would do Morel, Wisniewski, and Canario. I would do that.
Yeah,
I would do that because I don't really think you're losing anything.
Right.
I don't think Morel really helps you until he learns how to play a position. And I like him, and I respect what he did for the club.
Yeah, and we're going to get to that as well. I mean, maybe he goes to third base college this offseason, and he's the third baseman for years.
Yeah, it better be a 4-year university.
Right. It's not a JUCO.
No, they better have 101s and the Excel classes. Yeah, look, I'm being dumb on this show. Any proposal is legit. Who knows? Your goal for the Cubs is to get Alonso, and if you get him, great. Or if you can get Soto, great. It's very hard to trade for rentals because, the GMs don't want to give them up, and you don't want to give too much up for them. So we'll see what happens.
The Cubs need players, man.
I think that, and the Cubs need to be better when it matters.
How about a Jose Ramirez and Shane Bieber package?
Now you'd be speaking my language with that.
No, we would do a 24-hour show if that.
Would you give? I would give up PCA in that deal.
Right.
No, I would. I'd send.
No, 100%.
I'd send him off myself.
right, we're gonna have to get going. It's been another good show. Interesting shows this week.
I don't like my performance on this show. I apologize. I was too condescending.
I won't be here on Friday.
Oh, great.
I will be.
Maybe we'll do 20 minutes on New Girl.
Yeah, I not to do production on the air, but maybe we take some live chats. I don't know if you wanted to go live Thursday night.
Yeah, no, I was going to talk about kind of like the show that I'm watching.
Oh, you can certainly bring up some shows.
No. Yeah, no, maybe I'll go live. Maybe
talk some Cubs as well.
Yeah. I'm so disappointed there was no FanDuel read. You're starting to go viral with that.
Well, should I clip that and post it? I should have at this point.
I think it's one of the best bits you've ever done.
Yeah, so maybe I'll do that tonight and go get some Culver.
And maybe you could join live tomorrow after the Bear game and just give like a quick chat.
Well, yeah, it depends on what time you're going on because I'm going to be out and about a bit. So,
well, I think it'll be late because I got a softball game and first pitch and that tilts out till 8:30.
Oh, maybe I'll come aboard then.
So I might not even be able to go live now that I think out loud on the air.
Okay, all right. Well,
no, we don't.
Maybe we'll just take the show off or something.
And it's like a PNC situation where like 8:30 really means like 8:36.
Right.
PSA to everybody at PNC Park: start the games on time.
Thank you so much for checking out this edition of Locked On Cubs. Be sure to hit subscribe on YouTube as we make the push to 7,000 subs and smash the like button to support us. Also, catch us on Apple, Spotify, and streaming.
New Girl
on Sirius XM. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Pete Alonso. Locked On Cubs.
I think I'm starting to like the beard.